Yeah, it's so cool to see some of the places you've been. Like I know, like I mentioned that Afghanistan project,
Mm.
and you guys are always keen to go to those places where people sort of go, "What parkour in
Yeah.
like Iran or like in Korea or something?"
Hmm.
Like, what's like? Do you feel like the most high risk places you've been, aside from like doing the parkour itself? Like, because that's
Oh,
got to
what you
be
mean high risk in terms of like dangerous for you?
yeah, that's got to be stressful because I'm thinking in terms of like security and stuff. Like
Definitely, yeah.
some
There's
places they don't fuck about. You know what I mean? Like,
then yeah, for sure. So I'd say yeah, probably in terms of like being arrested, probably like some Asian countries. So obviously going to Hong Kong, Tokyo, and Seoul, that was high risk in terms of obviously the movement and being that high up, but also in terms of the way that the police viewed parkour and it had quite a lot stricter regulations and rules. So that was kind of hard. And then in India, getting deported, that was annoying. Like
oh,
we were doing a TED talk there, and but we were also filming India POV at the same time. And then it turned out that like the locals didn't really agree with what we wanted to do, so or like the government and the police basically rounded us up because they'd seen like clips that went viral in India or whatever. And me and Drew were in a hotel, and then the police came, and then they were like trying to arrest us, and we were like, "What? We haven't done anything wrong." And then this big thing came out, and then the others came, and then we basically got taken into this like jail place, and then it was just all this media and everything. It was so weird. And then basically the next morning they were just like, "You need to go," so we just left.
yeah, I heard of someone that went to study abroad in China, and they got in a fight or something, and they got put in, and they had some sort of hearing which they couldn't even understand. This person was English. They couldn't even understand, and then next thing I know, they were in prison for something like 4 months. They were
Wow,
just
crazy.
that, just
That's
like that, and they don't even really know why. But apparently they've come out fluent Mandarin, so
well,
apparently they
yeah,
were trying to
that's
be positive
positive.
about.
There
Yeah,
you
they
go.
were
Sometimes there's
like,
always there's always a positive, but yeah, it all
yeah.
depends.
I mean, weird, like you say, like getting deported and that, but you must have like a group of people, like you guys have done stuff in like films and stuff. Like there must be such a weird line. Like, is it hard
Yeah.
to understand sometimes whether you're going to be accepted or people are going to be like,
Well,
nah.
I guess yeah, it's so mixed because I guess it really it's all dependent on where you go and how people then perceive what you do. Because you go to some places, obviously, some people are really friendly and happy and inviting about it. They don't care, or they're just cool with it. But then all depending on the culture and the place, then people react differently. And obviously, when they know what parkour is and they've seen it before, they're much more accepting. But some of these other countries don't really have much of an idea about it, and the response is more like either like annoyed or hostile or like yeah they don't really want you to do it. And then like yeah, there's also other dangerous places that you can go that you might get robbed or something like that, but generally because there's a big group of guys who are together, like seven of us together, we don't usually get bothered that much. It's just yeah, on the odd occasions happen, but not much.
You had some issues with YouTube, didn't you, at one point?
What yes, well I guess it's still an ongoing issue really, but we got demonetized because I think there was loads of stuff going on with YouTube at the time, and like certain advertisers were pulling out of certain things. Plus, the guidelines are basically just changing. I feel like the world in general has become much more liberal, but also more censored in a way. It's weird. So
Like sensitive but liberal.
yeah, so it's almost like you anything that moves away from obviously super liberal points of view sometimes, and it's not deemed as progressive, and then you get labeled as like a someone who's all right or something. You know what I mean? It's like I feel like there needs to be less of a distinction of this left and right, and more just like having an idea, but not going too far in any direction. Because I feel like any direction you go too far down is maybe negative. I don't know. I don't know.
No, it is hypocritical because if people are super liberal, they're always saying like, "Oh, people can wear what they want, they can do this, they can believe in what they want," and then you get even deeper, like any sexuality,
Mhm.
any religion, and stuff like that. And part of that like spectrum of like beliefs are people that are more conservative, and like they always get like absolutely slaughtered for just expressing their views.
Yeah, it's
And
weird. It should be corrected.
I come from a point of view that like as long as your views don't like infringe on people's like freedoms and like beliefs, like
Yeah, yeah.
you can kind of do what you want. And that's
Mm.
kind of like a good rule because that covers you for like anything you do. If you're like discriminating or stuff, then you're breaking that rule.
Yeah, sure.
Um,
And I guess that kind of leads back into the point of what happened with us, and we then got demonetized for expressing ourselves and showing what we wanted to show, right? And even videos that weren't necessarily high risk or on private property were still put underneath this blanket ban, but because YouTube did say that they were reviewing each video and then handing out like a yellow, because it's like a traffic light system of the video being monetized. Sorry, so green is obviously most, if not all, ads are going to be available, and then amber or like orange is limited to no ads, and then red is like no way it can be monetized. But all of ours are amber, but that just means pretty much no money. It means unsuitable for most advertisers, and we haven't got one, I think, pound from any like after this point.
For you guys, because like because if you have that income and like you plan your life around that income, like that's sad if it just gets cut off.
Yeah, well, it's so lucky because what we only start seeing the YouTube money at like a pivotal point in the growth of the channel, but also we were just using it to like fund our trips and stuff. But luckily we have a clothing business as well and other sources of income, so we're able to still do what we need to. But yeah, it's just annoying that we didn't really get that support from YouTube, really, even though we put a lot of time and effort into it, and a lot of people obviously enjoy watching our content. But everything just changed, I guess.
I mean, the views speak for themselves in terms of like YouTube got to remember that every single one of these channels is an asset to them, because if it was an alternative one where Storror and all the other like people that bring in that many views went on a different platform, then that would have a massive impact. Obviously, that's never going to happen because they are so big and like so established.
It's weird,
like I've been talking to people a lot in this project about smaller businesses and how they're affected, because they're ultimately going to be the ones that get most screwed over. And like on a side point, this guy said to me, like, some businesses work off algorithms on like Facebook and like Instagram and YouTube and stuff. And if they get changed, it can just like take out the whole business plan, essentially. Which is absolutely savage.